Hello again. Alright, so this is video 2 of day 4 of Tour de Fleece. And I'm finished with my one spindle. And this is going to take me forever, but I'm using my kick spindle with my hand to get the yarn off the spindle and onto a storage bobbin. So, my nose itch. The spindle is actually hanging from a stool, a metal stool, and there is a magnet that has a hook. Knock it over, Cynthia. That has a metal hook and it's just dangling, and then honestly, let me move that up because it's gonna. There we go. Needs to swing freely, and I'll just do this, and it's just gonna go up and down on its own just because of how I got the yarn onto the spindle, and get it off the spindle and onto this bobbin, and then onto the other spindle to finish that up. Yeah, I'll take a picture of it when I'm done, because this is going to take several minutes, and I will not torture you with watching me do this. It would be cool to watch all the colors change, but oh well. Alright, bye. Okay, so I'm at the end of this first bobbin still. So what I did was the pink that I mentioned in the previous video that was supposed to be part of the second layer. I just tagged it onto, I just spun it up separately and was able to spin the two ends together so that it will attach. And I do have to help my spindle a little bit to spin. But this is a 6-ounce bobbin, and it's got quite a bit of yarn on here. So I know I will be using my jumbo flyer to ply the yarns together, because this is not going to fit. It wouldn't fit if it was just one. Take that off. Too bad you can't really see the color. Let me see if I can. I'm going to turn my camera around. See if you can see that a little bit. Yeah, that looks better to me. So it's definitely a little thick and thin. That's how I spin. It is what it is. But yay. So now I can switch the other spindle, what's on the other spindle, to this one and continue to spin. I'll probably be plying this weekend. That's the plan right now. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to switch over to weaving. Bear with me. Okie dokie. All right. So this is the next shawl I'm going to work on. The next step for this is to wind it on to the back. This it's shipping paper. For the most part, I just leave it on here. It's kind of double taped underneath to keep it in place, and then I'll wind it on. Whoops, my foot just kicked something. Yeah, so I just gotta wind that on to the back beam. But let me show you. Oh, and then this my samplet. Let me show you this yarn here. I got this from CC Wools up in Guilderland. They actually had a scarf that was woven that caught my attention. So yeah, I'll be working on this week. I can't wait. And then I have another one in a different colorway that I will probably warp up for next week. And I used this bag. It's just like, I don't know. I don't want to flash the name, but it was like I don't know if it was a skilled nursing facility or something, wherever, one of the community resources. and they gave a bunch of stuff, and I like it because it's a really small reusable bag, and I just hook it onto my loom and put the shuttle sticks, and this paper towel roll will go on the front end when I start to wind it, advance the warp. So I'm going to move up to the door. So I had the yarn, for the blue yarn, hung over these hooks that helped me keep everything kind of neat and organized. And in case you haven't noticed, this is my weaving room. So if it looks different from my other room, which I deemed my spinning room, although I was just sitting in here spinning, you know, there's no really super hard, fast rules. Oh yes, and I did try using my distaff. I used it a little bit. It's still kind of awkward to me, so I'm gonna keep trying. So this is the second baby blanket that I'm working on, and I but wound up all five of my rug shuttles with the weft yarn, and I'm down 2 already. I've completed 2, I think. Did I do 2 of them? Yes. Slowly move over here. I was watching a video. I'm sidetracked. Squirrel. Okay. I was watching a video one day, and this young lady, she was up in Maryland, and she was at a fiber store up in, I think, Frederick or wherever, and she was going to show stuff in the store, and she was swinging that camera around so much. I was like, I would love to see what you're trying to show, but I'm gonna get sick. And I don't get motion sickness, but it was terrible, so I was like, I can't. So I try to move slow. I don't want to give anyone nausea. So anyway, so these 2 are already empty of the 5, and then I don't think I started. Did I start? No, I didn't start the 3rd one yet. In my mind, I thought I did, but now I realized the other night, which I think was Sunday night, when I finished the 2nd one, I was like, okay, cool. I'll pick up where I left off. And you see this pickup stick, or actually this is the shuttle actually for this loom. It is so long. Well, duh, it has to be, right? Because this is a 48-inch loom. So because I'm using a lot of acrylic yarn, because I'm working through my stash faster than I could ever imagine, sometimes tension's a little bit of an issue, or like a thread just wants to be a little looser than the rest for, you know, whatever the reason. So I just kind of put this back here just to kind of help with that tension, not for any weaving design in this case. And it's been helping. But I love the shuttle because I can catch any floats pretty quickly. It's not perfect. I have missed a few, not that many, but I was remembering when I made actually this houndstooth blanket, which I actually might make into a shrug. Yeah, I could. Because it's kind of like a throw size, you know? Well, anyway, there's a lot of floats in there, and I'm like, I don't know how to fix a float on houndstooth. Plain weave, that's pretty easy to do. So that's when I switched to, I saw all 5 of these on Facebook Marketplace, and I, contacted the seller in Iowa or Idaho, one of those Midwest states. And she was like, I said, will you ship them? She was, will you pay for the shipping? Of course. So we worked it out, and I got them, and I'm so glad, because these are $20-something a piece, and I got all 5 for $100. That is actually a deal, and plus the shipping, so it's still a good deal. I'm really happy with it. And anytime I'm weaving something big like this, I use my shuttles, including when I'm weaving on this very thin yarn like this. This is a 1, I think, 1 or 2 yarn. And I am using my 7.5 rigid heddle. I probably could use like a 10 dents per inch, but there is this sparkly stuff, this tinsel, like, or whatever it's called, stuff wrapped around the yarn, and I don't want it. I mean, they do snag and kind of break. But I haven't broken any warp threads, hooray, yet on any of my looms or any of my weaving. And, you know, and this gets under good tension. And so probably what I'll do is take the empty shuttles and start winding on the yarn for the weft with it, because I do like using the shuttles then more than the sticks. I'm thinking about it, but one of the things I'm thinking about doing with this particular one, because it kind of reminds me of the ocean blue, ocean water, I have a wave stick. Hold on, let me show you. This stick here. And it's 24 inches. And this is also something I got from Dan Tracy Design. The only thing is, there are shuttle sticks with the waves that you can wrap your warp on half of it, and you use the wavy side to make the design. This one I can't do that, so I will be working in tandem with the shuttle and this wave stick. So I do have to pull up a tutorial on how to do it, because yeah, it's a process and I don't want to do it wrong. But I'm thinking that I'm going to do that with this particular scarf. So I can't wait to show you. This is going to be my challenge of the week. And I'm not really exactly following like what's the challenge days, because I'm just not. It's going to be my challenge for this week for that. And yeah, so I'm going to I'm going to start with this weaving project here so I can get it wound onto the back and tied up. So I'll show you a little bit of footage of that. All right, let me move that out of the way. And I actually started on Sunday evening with threading the warp, one warp string at a time. Yep, I started that on Sunday. Now this part is going to take me a few minutes. So I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do, because it's going to take a long time and it's going to be boring to watch. I need to make sure all the ends are as even as possible before I start warping. Before I start rolling the warp onto the back beam. Otherwise, yeah, my warp is going to be crazy uneven, and that just makes no sense. So I'm gonna do this, and hopefully my camera won't shut off, and I'll be back. So what I'm doing is I'm counting out batches of, you can't see that, sorry. I'm counting out batches of 8 warp strings. So that would be the, pairs. So basically 16 strings. Doing the hole in the slot pairs, and then I'm making sure that the ends for that pair are together, even. And then when I'm done with each little batch, I'm putting in a loose slip knot at the end, just in case, I don't know, anything could happen. Accidentally get knocked over or whatever. Get tangled up in myself. And yeah, so just to make sure that stays together, nothing gets tangled, and then I batch them and then move them over, and then move on to the next. Some of these are already, the ends are still even from when I have put them through the heddle last night, which is nice. Makes it go a little bit faster. But yeah, this is definitely a tedious way of warping my loom. This was not the plan. I had warped the loom, at least I think I did. I can't remember. I really cannot. I feel like I had warped the loom and I changed my mind and I took it off the warp, but then I'm thinking like, how would I have done that? I do know the ends were already cut, so I don't remember. So much has happened in these last few weeks. But needless to say, yeah, the ends were already cut. I did chain it to keep them organized, and I kept them that way. Didn't mess with it too much until Sunday when I was ready to like tackle the beast. Now, my challenge was to try to direct warp, and I did direct warp it. I mean, it's true I did it, but not in the way I was originally planning. Let me make sure it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Not in the way I was originally planning. You know, I was gonna do the, you know, warp the board and then chain it and then go to the loom and, you know, try to warp it that way, like, you know. But it, like I've seen people do on YouTube. And I don't know what I did wrong, but it didn't come out that way. But the mission was accomplished no matter how it came out, right? I have all my strings, all the slots that are supposed to be threaded are threaded, all the slots and holes. So, you know, it's kind of like the new math, right? I don't know about the other parts of the United States, but when I was growing up, we did that long, well, I call it long math, but you know, the whole carry the one, right? And then sometime when I think probably, and I think my children who are now in their 30s, I do believe they were taught that way, but the next generation, somewhere between, you know, this generation and that generation, this whole new math thing started. And like the parents can't even, unless they're great at math, or was taught in a whole different type of school system or country or whatever. Like a lot of us couldn't even help our children with math because, and then the children would get in trouble for doing it what I guess we would call the old way, still got the answer, could still even show their work how they got the answer. But the teachers were like, no, you're doing it wrong. I don't understand how it's wrong if the answer is correct. Personally, it's math. So as long as you figured out the right answer and you can show your work, why is it wrong? So that's how I feel about this whole warping direct warping situation. I don't want to say I did it wrong. I was just going to try a different way of doing it, and it just didn't come out quite as planned. But I got to where I needed, and that's all that matters. And I wasn't spending hours on end untangling my yarn, because that would have just made for a very sad situation. So I started warping. I got maybe like almost quarter of the way of the done on Sunday, and then I was like, you need to go to bed, girl, because you gotta get up and work. I worked my 12-hour shift yesterday. When I got home, I did a little bit of spinning, and then, as I told you, the other video, or if I'm able to connect all these videos, that'd be fabulous. And then I came up last night, and I was just gonna make it to the halfway mark, but then I was like, you know what? You can stay up as late as you want. You don't have to work tomorrow. So I decided to go ahead and finish threading it, and I did, and I'm glad I did. So yeah, that mission is accomplished. All right, I'm gonna keep working on these batches, and I will see you when I have rolled the yarn onto the back beam. All right, see you in a few. I am finally on the last batch of 8. I'm still making sure all the ends are even. My dog is waking up from one of his mini naps. I might have to go let him outside. One more. I'm not sure how long this took me to do, this part anyway. Not that long, really. Maybe 30 minutes. Can't really tell by the camera because I would pause it and I would keep it running the whole time. That would have been very boring. And I do have a YouTuber I watch on, well, you can't hear it now because I muted the volume. I think that would be very distracting to hear the TV noise and I'm talking to you, or even if I'm not talking at the moment. So, all right, so that was the last batch. So I have 8, I should count them. I know I have a batch of 7 and a batch of 6 in the middle. So I started, let's see, 4, 8. I don't think, did I do 2 extra ones? I'll tell you in a second. Hold on. Can't tell. Hold on. Hold on. Hold, please. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 batches. Sorry, 10 batches. 8 of them are batches of 8, and then 1 batch of 7 and 1 batch of 6 threads. All right, now I'm going to start rolling this on. I am not going to show you me doing this, and the only reason is because it is loud, and I think that would be annoying to hear that. So I'm just gonna have a semi-death grip, if you will, on my yarn, and I only have to have 1 roller on this one. My 48 inch requires 2. I already got my paper on, and then as it's rolling back, I'm probably gonna have to pull it out. It might be enough paper for the whole thing. If not, I can grab some more and have to move the loom out. Grab some more to tuck up under there to separate the warp. Okay, hold tight. Okie dokie. I got the warp on. Let go of the little slip knots. Ugh, not too much. I should have probably left it in, honestly, but I have to tie it on. I like to tie on my warp. I know I could do the threading. I actually prefer to tie it on. And one thing that was happening a little bit, not too bad, this yarn was getting a little, what do you call it? Like a little floofy. I don't know if you can see. Oh, whatever. Flew off my thumb. Anyway, and as I was rolling and rolling, I was getting resistance. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? So, thankfully, I stopped to pay attention because it was like, we're not going forward. It's because the little, I had the term in my head. they basically like little fuzz balls were catching, because you know that's what happens with yarn sometimes. So I took my tiny, tiny, tiny little scissors after I kind of like untwisted it and got it and snipped it right in the middle. Oh, grab that. So yeah, so that is done. And I know I'm gonna have to recount all the little 8 batches, which is fine. It is what it is. But I got the warp wound on. I did do some paper, because you know the paper that was on, and then I just added warp sticks instead of pulling it out and getting more paper to shove up in there. And one thing I forgot as I was rolling it on, I was like, yeah, this is why I don't like paper, when it starts to like, you know, do that sliding motion. So I was catching it, it's on with lots of space, like it didn't affect the warping. That has happened to me in the past where it's like it ends up on the wrong layer or something. It's kind of frustrating when that happens. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, but it's on. So now I just have to do the tying on part, and I'm gonna do that. I'm going to get my shuttle ready to roll, and actually I'm going to put this bobbin, because it's on one of these. Is this what I'm gonna put it on? No, actually that's not what I want to put it on. I'm gonna put it on my my lazy Kate Susan. Okay, not Susan. Susan holds the spices. The lazy Kate. I'll put it on that, and then I'll let it spin around and get my shuttles ready to go. All right, so that is that for now. And then I'm going to weave. Actually, I want to just leave that alone for a second. Let's turn this way. Let's look at the baby blanket. So usually I sit on this bar stool, which is hard. My butt doesn't really like it after a while. I usually have a pillow in here. Okay. I don't know where it's at right now, so I'll just pop a squat right here for a few minutes. And I usually have my loom a little bit further back, but honestly I just like, it's right here, it's fine. I'm gonna leave it here and throw a couple of picks of this baby blanket. So I ended on this side, so I'm going to start on that side. So a lot of people, they're like, you know, you should just tuck in your ends right here, which I've been doing a lot. But then I recently saw someone who will cut one string of her yarn and twist it. Is that time already? Oh my gosh, where did the day go? It's 4 o'clock. Good God. Anyway, and tucks it in. I think I might want to do that because I think it looks neater. I'm going to go say hi to my husband. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Alright, let me try this little trick. Acrylic, so I don't know if it's gonna work. Enjoy it. goodness. All right. Get in here. Let's see. If I like how this comes out, I will be doing this from now on. We'll see. Alrighty. Oh, and I'm almost done with the cuff on the second mitten that I'm making. I still haven't finished the first one. I still have to put the thumb on the spare string. So I'll be working on. I've been just kind of working on that, like it's lunch yesterday a little bit, and after work last night, and at the pharmacy today. When I get into bed, I might knock out a round, something like that with the cuff, because you got to do. I have to do 20 rows. So. I will get those done this month for sure. I don't know if I'll start another knitting project or not for July. And I know I'm going to make some more mittens. It's so easy. Either mittens or fingerless gloves. It's a little tight there. Alrighty, so that's it for today. I do like this. I think I'm gonna do that from now on, because then when I wash it to block it, you know, it will, or I should say when I wet block it, I still wash it because it's a baby blanket, you know, it will definitely help those little fibers become one. So I definitely like that. Better than tucking in all these strings. And I do have some that are tucked that I'm gonna have to cut also. Cool. Alright, you guys, thanks for watching my video. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you have any comments, that's great, as long as they're pleasant. You don't need any meanness. Got enough of that going around in the world. You don't need any more. And if you would like to know when I post again, it's usually not this frequently. It's just because it's toward the fleece, toward the weave season. I have been trying to post a little something every day. I don't normally do it this frequently though. But if you would like to know when I do post, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and you'll get notifications when I have posted a video. Thank you for, ooh, I almost created a huge little set of floats there. The yarn got hooked around my this thing on the other side. Anyway, as I was saying, thank you for watching my video and your thumbs ups. I appreciate that. And until the next time, which will be mañana, tomorrow, I will see you then. Bye.